Hi, this is Janie. Welcome to Mimicraft, your home for all things creative and DIY on a budget. I make all the mistakes, so you don't have to. Please don't forget to do all the things that warm the algorithm's heart. Now, on with the projects. Today's projects will be made with Dollar Tree's Tumbling Tower blocks and Dollar Tree's Super Glue wood glue, or any wood glue of your choice. The first project today is a subscriber request for a little red truck. You'll need 2 of these wood trucks that you can find in the craft section at Dollar Tree. Remove the twine hangers. We'll be filling in the holes later on in the project. On one of the trucks, you'll need to remove the fenders, the hubcaps, and the rails around the bed. You'll loosen the glue by placing the truck in the oven at 300 degrees for 15 minutes. Be sure to use parchment paper to protect your pan. When removing the wood pieces, loosen all the edges all the way around first. Go slowly and be very careful not to damage the wood underneath. As you can see in the video, I didn't do it that way and I did damage some of the wood. Pretend you saw me taking off the hubcaps and the last fender. Flip your truck over and take all your wood goodies and sand off all the glue from the glue side and re-glue them the opposite direction on this side of the truck. Glue together 12 blocks in this pattern, 8 blocks in this pattern, and 4 blocks in this pattern. Next, you're going to glue them together as seen on screen. They'll both be on top of the 12 block set. When it's completely dry, give it a good sand. Here's a side view of how it should look. Glue 14 sets of 2s together, making sure that each of the sets is the same length. When these are dry, give them a good sand. Now let's put this together. On the inside of one of the sides, place a 2 block set where you see me doing it here on screen. Follow the video for the rest of the block placement. After each block set is placed, reinforce that connection with some more glue. I used wood glue. Hot glue would have been so much smarter. So essentially, you'll be gluing these to the perimeter of the truck until you reach that front bumper. Perimeter.
Do you want you could do so you.
It should end up looking something like this. You can see the spaces in there. I have not gone over and glued the insides yet. Again, hot glue would have been so much smarter. If you end up with a really big space, you can put a toothpick in there and that'll fill it up. Nobody will know the difference. Now you can glue on the bed of the pickup truck. I used a wet wipe to remove all the excess glue. You can also use a toothpick and wrap a little bit of cotton ball on the end of it and use that to get all the glue out of the really tight areas. When this is completely dried, add glue on the tops of all of these 2 block sets as you see me doing here, and then we'll place the other truck on top. Place something heavy on it while it dries. Fill in the holes with either wood filler or spackle. I'm using DAP plastic wood, water-based wood filler in the color Natural. When that's dry and has been sanded, you can start painting. I'm using the color Nutmeg from Apple Barrel Paints to paint this first section to look like wood. Imagine, if you will, a world where I painted everything before I glued everything together. I used this silver metallic paint to paint the hubcaps and some black chalk paint to paint the tires. And a little more silver for that bumper, or headlight, or whatever that thing is.
That's going to need another coat.
Frank was right. It did need another coat. Needed another 2 coats. Here I'm using the same silver paint that I used on the hubcaps for what I'm going to call the bumper. Off camera, I painted the other side, and now I'm painting the entirety of the center. I painted the inside of the sides in the nutmeg color to make it look like wood. Don't know if I needed to do that, but I did. I painted the underside red. I know nobody's going to see it, although you do want to paint the roof of the inside cab because that does show. And I painted the tires black just halfway up, as much as they would show. Now for some finishing touches. I took a couple of these half beads. They're about 5/8 wide, 14 millimeters, and I bought them on Temu. First, I painted both beads completely silver, and that's because I wanted the center to look like glass. I figured if I painted the white over the silver, it would look a little bit more like that, like a real headlight. I used a pencil to mark a ring all the way around the beads so I knew where I wanted my white paint to go. Then I painted white above the line. I used gloss Mod Podge to make it really shiny, but I think what would have worked out better is clear nail polish. Then I made sure I was out of the shot when I glued the headlights to the front of the truck. Next, I highlighted the edges of all the open areas with the silver paint. I did the edges of the fenders as well. I drew on both the front and back windshield and then filled it in with black paint. To make something simple more difficult, I outlined the windshields with the silver paint. Next, I made running boards by gluing 2 sets of 2 blocks together end to end. I used wood filler on the seams and then sanded them smooth after the filler was dry. I painted them silver, but I think they would have looked really good in the nutmeg as well. This is where they should be glued. I used 2 more half beads to make side mirrors. I painted the flat sides with the silver paint and the outsides with the red paint. I sanded one side of the mirror to make it flat so that it would glue nicely on the truck. I glued mine on a little bit of an angle for realism. And this is how mine turned out. I filled the bed of the truck with fall florals from Dollar Tree. This is the inspiration for my next project. We'll be making a word, and you will need a minimum of 5 boxes, but preferably more, of the tumbling tower blocks. We're going to start with 16 blocks, and we're going to glue them in sets of 2. The blocks should all be the same width, the same depth, but you actually want the length to be off. What I'm doing here is I'm gluing them together, and we're doing them crooked on purpose. In each of these block sets, make sure one of the blocks is touching the vertical portion of the square. Next, take 16 single blocks that are the same width and 8 blocks that are the same depth. Taking 4 singles and 3 doubles, glue them together in alternating order and direction, starting with a single block. Be sure all doubles are touching the vertical portion of your square. Repeat for the other side. For the middle, glue 2 doubles and 1 single together as seen on screen. Then glue the sides and middle together. For the letter E, you'll need 16 blocks that are the same width and 9 blocks the same depth. Glue the 16 blocks into 8 doubles as before. Left side of the E is the same as the sides of the H, which is 3 doubles and 4 singles alternating. The bottom and top of the E is 2 singles and 2 doubles glued in this order. If you're going to paint these letters, make sure that you don't put them all together like I'm doing here. Just do the sides, paint them, and then put the sides together. You'll see why in a little while. The center of the E is 1 double and 1 single in this order. For the letter L, you'll need 10 blocks the same width and 7 blocks the same depth. The left side of the L is the same as the other letters. The bottom of the L is 3 singles and 2 doubles. For the O, you need 20 the same width and 10 the same depth. The sides are the same as the other letters. The top and bottom are 2 doubles and 1 single. And this is how it looks unfinished. I'm going to do a paint technique to make it look like the inspiration picture. I'm going to paint these with Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. With a stencil brush, put some paint on the ends of the bristles and then wipe them off and unload the majority of the paint. You see me doing here, I use both a paper towel and a piece of paper and then start applying the paint. This way you can go as heavy or as light as you like. You can just keep layering it until you are satisfied with the outcome. Here's an example of do as I say, not as I do. If I had painted these before I glued the sides together, I would have had a much easier time. And this is how mine turned out. This crooked on purpose stuff is really triggering. I think I'm going to take a nap. Let's take a moment to exercise our thumbs by hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. While you're at it, you can even leave me a comment. Now on with the show. This next project is a Pinterest dupe. For this project, you'll need 2, but preferably 3 boxes of tumbling tower blocks so that you have a good selection. Glue together 40 sets of 2 blocks end to end, making sure that the blocks are all the same size. Keeping the block sets on their flat sides, glue them together in an L shape as seen on screen. You'll end up with 20 of them. Take 2 of these L shapes, rotate one of them as you see on screen, and glue them together like that. There will be 10 squares total. Fill in all the seams, top, bottom, outside and inside with wood filler. Sand them until they cry uncle, then sand them some more. After sanding, wipe them down. I like to use a wet wipe. For this next part, I'm going to use half beads. You'll need 32. You could also use any size other regular bead that you like. Mark the middle of each side of 8 of the squares. Glue half beads on each of those markings. With the bead side facing up, glue 4 sets together. On top of these 4, glue a square with no beads. Editing Genie here. This should have been done back when the squares were first made. Take 5 blocks and glue them side by side. Do that twice, making sure that they fit inside of your 2 empty squares. Then glue them in. A carpenter's square will help you line things up. Repeat this process for the remaining 5 squares. You should have twinsies. Now glue together 8 sets of 5 end to end. You'll want to use all the same size blocks and make sure that each set is exactly the same length. You know what to do next. This time I use the big guns. When they're as smooth as a baby's behind, glue them together into L shapes as seen on screen. Fill her up. Since these have already been thoroughly sanded, I'm using a wet wipe to remove the dried wood filler. Take one of your squares, bead side up, this will be the base, and glue the 4 pillars into the 4 corners. Make sure that the wide sides are on the same side and that the skinny sides are on the same side. When the base has dried, add glue to the top of the 4 pillars. Place the remaining stack of squares on top of that, making sure that all the corners meet perfectly. I changed my mind and flipped this over for the beads to face down. Do whatever you like. Place some weight on top until it dries. Fill in all the joints created by the pillars with wood filler, or in this case, pillar filler. And here I am placing those 5 block sets in after the fact. And here I am gluing the one that goes into the top of the lantern. It wasn't that bad, just a little bit awkward and a little bit messy. So bottom shelf goes there, top shelf goes there. This is optional, but I decided to add push lights. These are some I already had, but Dollar Tree sells them as well. With the lantern turned upside down, I placed a push light underneath the top shelf. I used hot glue so that I could reuse my push light. You'll easily be able to change the batteries. And this is how she turned out. And here she is next to her BFF, the inspo picture. And out for a night on the town. Not gonna lie, I'm loving how these push lights look in this lantern. You made it to the end. Congratulations. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below which one of these projects was your favorite. Also, let me know if you have any requests for a dupe of some decor. Doesn't have to be made with tumbling tower blocks, but anything you'd like to see made on a budget. Until the next time, bye!